make it. So that is promising. But what have they done with the pass rush? Justin Houston yesterday goes to Carolina. Yannick Ngakoue last week goes to Chicago. Today there are reports Jadeveon Clowney is visiting the Baltimore Ravens. You don't have a lot left. As a matter of fact, all you have left is Melvin Ingram. So I've talked to so many people about this. Even Pete Prisco, when he was in town last week watching Jaguars practice, I'm like, Pete, you got to be kidding me. This team has 34 career sacks out of their pass rushers, 27 and a half of those from Josh Allen. I mean, you got 3 from Chason, and you got 3.5 from Walker. Dixon and Yasir Abdullah and, Jordan Smith, 0-0-0. And I know that Abdullah hasn't played, but still, your top 6 pass rushers have a combined 34 sacks. And that, to me, is petrifying, considering I think there are weak spots in your secondary. It's quite clear that Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson believe they can outscore their opponents. All right? If they're going to put up close to 30 a game, as long as your defense can maintain around 20, 21 a game, as far as giving up, that should be good enough, and you're going to win much more than you, in fact, lose. But I am wondering about this gamble because, when I talk with Prisco, he's like, well, see what these kids got. Watch them. Watch them Saturday in Dallas. Watch them practice next week against Detroit. Watch them next Saturday at Detroit. And if you feel as though you're not getting any push and you're not going to have any pressure on the quarterbacks, then go out and sign a veteran then. Okay. Well, ever since then, 2 more guys got snatched up in Yannick and in Houston. And now Jadeveon Clowney, who in himself, Jadeveon Clowney, it's not like he would come in here and be some savior. Jadeveon Clowney in 12 games last year had 2 sacks. Okay? Melvin Ingram in a full schedule, 17 games a year ago, had 6 sacks and 1 forced fumble. So it's not anything even close to automatic that if you bring a guy in, all of a sudden he's going to be able to turn things around and grab a lot of sacks for you. So the decision has been made. The most important thing is their offense is intact, and their offense could be outstanding. And that is what I've been hauling about forever. If you could take me back to last year, I'm not afraid to admit it. You could Trayvon Walker me. You could Aiden Hutchinson me. I would have gone with Eric Neal, who's got a concussion. Or I would have gone with Ekwonu. I would have taken the highest-ranked tackle. That's just my way of thinking, but nonetheless, that is certainly one thing that we're going to look at with the Jaguars throughout the remainder of training camp and once we get into preseason games. Coming up a little bit later on as well, really want to go through college football because I spent a lot of time today reading about the top 10, top 12 teams in college football. And it amazes me that the top 3 teams, according to the coaches poll, are all replacing their quarterback. Quarterback play has been so huge in college football. Can you really win it this year with a first-timer? I mean, can Georgia three-peat with Carson Beck? Is Alabama going to be able to get back to where they once was, it's not like they really fell off a year ago, where they once were, I should say. But still, you have quarterback competition there. You're looking for a brand-new quarterback at Ohio State. There are some schools in the top 10 that I think have an advantage because the quarterback returns, like Michigan, all right, like LSU, like USC, like Florida State. And a lot of people just throw Joe Milton in there with Tennessee and Cabe Klubnik at Clemson. Between them, they only have a few starts. It's not like they're grizzled veterans. They're guys now that they were forced to go in because of injury, and now they're going to take on the entire schedule for the entire year. Who knows if they have that type of staying power. So I want to spend a little bit of time doing that a little bit later on in the program. All right, first things first. The depth chart is out. Not a lot of surprises here. Okay, there's a couple, but really not many for me. Left guard is Blake Hance. All right, he's shown a lot of, he really has. He's shown how versatile he is early on, whether it's been right tackle or left guard. This is real promising for the young man, who I still don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to make this team. He's going to have to perform well. Talked to Luke Fortner about him yesterday. Anyway, he is listed as your starting left guard. As we know, Tyler Shatley had a irregular heartbeat. He has not been involved in any team drills, any contact. Ben Barch is still rehabilitating and is presently on the PUP list. Your starting right tackle is the rookie Anton Harrison. That's good to see. No fooling around as far as that. So I like everything. The only thing that would stick out for me here that may be a little bit of a surprise, I think Dearness Johnson has had as good of, if not a better camp so far than JaMycal Hasty. But we're talking about the third and fourth back, right? Snoop Connor fifth, and I've been saying it all along. I hate it for Snoop, but I don't think he's going to be able to make this football team. I also noticed that the blocking tight end to begin things is Luke Farrell. Okay? Brenton Strange, a second-round pick. Many described him as almost like an Evan Ingram. I went back and looked at some things right after the draft at Penn State. I didn't sit through film and watch an entire game, but highlight packages and what have you that are available. And Brenton Strange is a better blocking tight end than I was aware of. And I talked to him about that when I interviewed him right at the very end of minicamp. But he is the blocking tight end. And you look at Garrett Prince, he is the second on the depth chart behind Evan Ingram as your makeshift tight end. You know, your athletic tight end that Garrett Prince is obviously a guy who can really be a factor in the red zone. So that's basically it. Offensively, Parker Washington is third team behind Agnew and Christian Kirk in the slot. Everything else is basically the way you would expect it. All right, defensively, what surprised me? Well, for starters, Chris Claybrooks, who on Sunday got most of the first team work with Tyson Campbell being out. It was Claybrooks as, I think if you go to dime, he would be your, sixth defensive back. I think when you're looking at pure cover corners, he has been listed at number 3. On Monday, we saw Buster Brown get the majority of those reps. Kind of absent in all this, and he just seems to be one of those guys who's performed well but doesn't get a lot of ink, doesn't get a lot of airtime as Tavon Campbell. Okay? But he's done some nice things. So anyway, for those of you who are aware, or for those of you who are interested, and certainly I was, let me take you through the way that the starting contain does look, because I think this will end up being by far the most competitive positions on the field, the defensive backfield, and it's going to be a deal where you cut some guys, you hope you can bury them on the practice squad, certainly like what they did a year ago with Gregory Jr. So your starting corners, Williams and Campbell. We know Tyson is in the concussion protocol. Trey Herndon's your starting nickel. I would cut Trey Herndon. I just don't think he's ripe for the challenge. And as I've said forever, it's not personal. It's that he can't cover. I think he's a good football player. I think he's a smart football player. I think he's a physical football player. I don't think he can cover anyone. So to me, that's scary. Cisco and Jenkins, your safeties. We know that Cisco had been slow with a tight hamstring. He has returned. All right. Second team on the depth chart. Corners, Tavon Campbell and Buster Brown. Okay. Claybrooks falls to third team along with rookie Eric Hallett who I had a chance to interview yesterday. Fourth team is Caleb Hayes, who I really like, the undrafted free agent out of BYU. I mean, a 40-inch vertical. He ran a 4.31. He put up 225 pounds 17 times. He looks like a gamer. He's vocal. He's got juice. He's got length. Could he make this team? Sure. If not, can you place him and hide him, hopefully, on one of those 16 practice squad decisions that the Jaguars are able to make? Devad Wilson is your other corner. All right, to the nickel. Behind Trey Herndon, Gregory Jr. I really think he's the heir apparent. I think you're going to try to see Jacksonville work in some sort of combination with Gregory Jr. and in certain packages, the safety Antonio Johnson. That would be my guess. And we'll see how it plays out. I could be dead wrong, but I think that there's a real good chance that could happen. I told you, a week ago how I feel about Trey Herndon. So it's Gregory Jr. and then it's Christian Braswell as the third team in the slot. Safeties behind Cisco and Jenkins, Daniel Thomas, and Andrew Wingard. That is a freaking massive concern. All right? I've been bragging about Daniel Thomas for 4 years. You can't trust him at safety. He's not a good football player. He's one of the best gunners in the NFL, along with Chris Claybrooks. He is an outstanding special teams guy. He's in the final year of his contract, as is Claybrooks, and they only cost you over $1 million, slightly over $1 million. Wingard, you know what? If Otto Graham was the quarterback, and it was back in the days of before Gil Brandt got with and Tex Schramm got with the bullet Bob Hayes right here out of Jacksonville to start to throw the football downfield. If we were just playing 3.4 yards in a cloud of dust style of football, Andrew Wingard would be a big part of all this. But my goodness, you going to ask him to cover? I know Dewey. I know y'all love Dewey. Y'all love him now. I tell you when you didn't love Dewey, last year at this time, I remember what you say. I remember what you send in. Okay? I'm nervous about the future at safety because, I think Rayshon's gone at the end of the year. I think Daniel Thomas is gone at the end of the year. Then again, in my opinion, you can't really cover anyway. So that leaves you with Antonio Johnson at free safety. And, Antonio Johnson did multiple things at Texas A&M. You keep hearing that he was in the slot at A&M, but they didn't really run the same type of system that Jacksonville runs. There's no question about that. He also played deep safety at Texas A&M, which is what? Coverage, right? Deep safety, you're the last guy out of the 11. You're the Willie Mays. You're the Andrew Jones, right? You're the Freddie Lynn. You're the center fielder. And he also spent time in the hole, the safety hole position in the, in the Tampa 2 coverage that Jacksonville or that Texas A&M ran. Jacksonville will run a lot of Tampa 3 or a lot of what am I thinking? Cover 3, right? So I don't know where he fits in yet, but it's so problematic for these rookies because they're asked to do so many different things because this game changes on a play-to-play basis. And we've seen young guys around here really struggle early on because they're trying to figure out what to do. Now, let's credit the development of Tyson Campbell in a year and a half. Remember his first 8 games here with Urban Meyer? Okay? And how bad things were then? He's turned it around. It feels like so far in practice that Devin Lloyd is completely different than what we saw a year ago. Now, granted, he missed training camp with an injury, so that slowed him. Then he came out and he became too concerned about where am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to do? Instead of just going out and playing football. So that would be something that would be a little bit alarming for me with Antonio Johnson. They're moving him around. They're asking him to do a ton of different things. I mean, you had wide receivers against the defensive backfield the other day in one-on-ones. And Evan Ingram was the only non-wide receiver in the drill as a tight end. And they lined up Antonio Johnson against him. To me, that spoke volumes. Okay, can Johnson be a part of things in a nickel where you ask him at 6'2" to defend the tight end? This just in. Jacksonville did not know how to cover Travis Kelce. Kelce's one of the top players in the world. All right, and his quarterback is the top player in the world. But Jacksonville could do nothing to slow down this tight end. So it's just something to take a look at and something to consider. There you go. That is basically your depth chart. 90 guys are in, 2 noticeably absent because they're on the PUP list. That is Ben Bartch and Dewan Smoot. And remember, this year, much like the last couple of years, you don't have cuts after every preseason game. No. It's that one-time 90 to 53. But it's really 53, plus the 16. So you can keep 69 out of these 90. Now, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to keep all the guys that you cut right here on this team, practice squad-wise. I'm sure their agent is doing whatever he needs to do or she needs to do to know all 32 rosters. And if you're a position player at this position, you have a better opportunity of making it by going to this franchise. There's a lot of that. I happen to feel really confident that most of the players that Jacksonville does cut and they want on the practice squad, they're going to be able to bring back. But it's not going to happen with them all. And there also could be a situation where for years and years and years and years, this team every year, after they went from whatever it was to 53, because remember the old cycle, there'd be cuts, 5 here, 10 there, whatever it used to be after every game. Jackson would go out and get as many as 8 players, if not, 3, 4 free agents who were cut by another team. I really don't see that happening much this year. I know people are like, well, can they find a defensive end there? Someone really going to cut a defensive end? I think the only chance that something like that would happen would be if there's a pricey defensive end who doesn't carry a tremendous amount of dead cap money and you just don't think he still has the skills, you may free him to create some more cash and play someone behind him. But you just don't let defensive ends go. I mean, they're arguably the second most important position in the entire National Football League, right? Quarterback, defensive end, left tackle, those are far and away the 3. And Jacksonville as well may have some guys that they have measured up to really affect them positively if they were to put them on the practice squad. So we are going to have to see how that all plays out. All right, we got a ton to do tonight right here on a Tuesday edition. If you want to join the program, as always, the best way to get a hold of us is on the text line, what is brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. That number is 641-1010, along with Agent Gibbs. My name is Rick Ballou. This is Into the Night.
What gets better around lunchtime?
The voice of reason.
XL Primetime.
I know, right?
Josie, Matt, Leon, and Mia.
Can I get an amen? Amen.
Lunch, friends, and sports talk. Weekdays noon to 3 on 1010XL.
Ballou here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Care you can see.
To your left, our new exhibit, Monarchs of Springfield. And right here, we have our empty tour guide stand.
The last time Bryn hired someone is ancient history.
Sir, excuse me, that's not part of the exhibit.
They need
Sir,
tour guides who know the museum ropes.
Hey, kid, you like wearing khakis? I got a job for you.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you an electrician looking for better pay and benefits? Miller Electric Company has the industry-leading compensation package. Electricians are eligible for a signing bonus up to $1,000. Now, they're partnering with the Jaguars on their new performance facility, the Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric has opportunities for you to work on some of the most exciting projects right here in Jacksonville. Whether you're experienced or not, visit MillerCareers.com, an equal opportunity employer. That's MillerCareers.com.
People who suffer from arthritis are getting real pain relief with exciting biologic therapies at QC Kinetics.
The success rate is there, and there's no better way to treat yourself when it comes to dealing with pain.
Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics, who says they can't cure arthritis, but they can treat the pain.
If you think of the tide coming in and out on the beach and what it does, it erodes the sand, right? Can't stop the tide, but eventually when the sand or the beach gets bad enough, we backfill that beach with sand so that we get generations of enjoyment with that beach again. And the same thing happens with your knee or your shoulder or your hip or your back. We want to backfill the problems that have happened to this point. I'm not stopping the tide, so I'm not stopping the arthritis, but I want to get generations of enjoyment out of those joints again.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Learn more about how restorative biologic therapies can get you real and lasting joint pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
You don't think this would be a good moment to text somebody?
There's never a bad moment to share your opinion on the 1010XL text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Share your opinion
as soon as possible
at 641-1010. Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Rotator cuff tears are the most common overhead injuries I see. In order to avoid shoulder issues, make sure not to overload the front of the shoulder while also focusing on developing good scapular strength and maintaining flexibility in your lats. Proper hydration, nutrition, and supplementation are also crucial to joint and muscle health. Go Jag.
Universal Roof and Contracting is redefining roof replacement. You can protect your home and increase your curb appeal. Whether your roof has suffered storm damage or just worn out over time, they offer a broad array of roof materials, including metal, tile, or architectural shingles to suit your specific needs. They're the right choice for all your roofing needs. So visit universalroof.com to set up a complimentary roof inspection. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control. Look, warmer weather now means mosquito, flea, and tick season is here. These pests are out for blood, but you don't have to let them win. Protect your home and family with Kingfish Pest Control. As a Kingfish customer myself, I know their products are safe for kids and pets. Plus, with a 100% satisfaction guarantee, you can relax knowing your yard is pest-free. Call today, mention the Jags to receive 10% off your initial service. That's Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
For the past 5 years in Jacksonville, J-Dog Junk Removal has been on a mission to put veterans back to work. They have successfully helped over 40 veterans find meaningful employment, and they're not stopping there. Their goal is to reach an astounding 75 veterans employed by the year 2025, all in our local community. J-Dog Junk Removal, veteran-owned, veteran-operated.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From roll and lock bed covers to Lear toppers to cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou. on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
You know, one of the great things for me about going over to the Miller Electric Center every day and being able to watch the Jaguars practice during training camp is to take that romantic stroll down Phillips Highway. I head north to south, and I ride that bad boy all the way through Bayard, where I live. Racetrack Road, which is growing like a zit. I mean, it is unbelievable. Building after building, strip malls, all sorts of stuff. You know what? They may even figure it out and put a gas station in there. It's pretty incredible. It really is. And, you know, today was an off day. The Jags did not work. Back at it tomorrow morning early, 8:50 is when practice will resume. Today was weird for me. I felt like out of sorts. Now, we actually had a tea time scheduled, me and 3 buddies, but one couldn't commit. The other was like, bro, it's 100 out. I'm like, okay, I'll take a day off. And I guess I'm okay with that. But, yeah, I think the Heat, for the most part, the last couple of days have been hot for the Jaguars, but I don't think it's been close to what it was like last year when they practiced on the, what field was it over there, the high school field?
Episcopal.
Thank you, Gibby. Episcopal.
Last year, yep.
Which was really enjoyable.
It was.
Compared to, I mean, I didn't know Jacksonville was a desert. Tom Coughlin made that place a desert. I mean, there's not a tree to be found. There's no, even the slightest sprinkle of shade. I mean, that was it. And that's how he built this thing back in 1995, although that very first year they went out to Wisconsin and did it at Stevens Point. But from 96 on, it was always on that practice field. And, you know, believe it or not, I didn't really complain about it much. I enjoy going to these off-season workouts so much. But the new Miller Electric Center is just fantastic. And if you're a member of the media and you need shade, you can find shade 100% of the time. The fans are absolutely enjoying it with the way that they've set that up. Haven't had a chance to really go up there yet. I guess I did throughout the tour, but I don't know. Maybe I'll take a trip up there. I guess it's tomorrow and Thursday are the final 2 days that Jaguar fans can get out there. But anyway, today was kind of weird for me. And I felt like I needed something to do. That changes tomorrow with the Jags. Then Thursday gets a little complex because Florida State's in, Jacksonville's in. I can only be one place at one time. I think right now I'm leaning towards Florida State because my guess is that the Jags will not be in pads on Thursday. But I'll have a guest, and we'll keep you updated with everything on Thursday's program. I kind of want to go over and check out the alma mater. It was a difficult day today for Florida State. Darrell Jackson, his waiver was not granted by the NCAA. He's already transferred once. He went from Maryland to Miami. Reportedly, he wanted to come to Tallahassee because his mom is not doing well health-wise, and she lives in Havana, which is, you know, a driver and 3-wood away. I think it's about 20 minutes away from God's country. Been waiting and waiting and waiting. He finds out today another kid from North Carolina as well was denied by the NCAA. So maybe they're going to start to get a little bit more whatever it is. I mean, obviously it's different rules for different people. I look at a guy like Sam Hartman, right? He immediately transfers. Maybe a better example would be Phil Jakovic, who went from Notre Dame to Boston College. This year he'll be the starting quarterback at Pittsburgh. Now, the difference is Jakovic spent a couple of years at BC. He didn't go 1-1-1, and that's what Darrell Jackson did. But, you know, this guy's got NFL written all over him. My understanding, talking to some people in Tallahassee about him 2 weeks ago when I was in Charlotte, is that he's very lazy, okay? But if he was to put it together, there's NFL money waiting for him. He's 6'5", 335, somewhere in that range. Florida State happens to be very, very, very deep at the interior defensive line. But as far as I'm concerned, it's almost like the offensive line. You can never have too many good defensive linemen. You can never have too many good offensive linemen. And, you can just pile them up when you have 85 scholarships. But this is a blow. Things have really been going well for Florida State as of late. This one today hurt. I don't think there's any question about it. So we'll have more on that when I get a chance to get over there on Thursday. I guess Brandon Fisk is doing a real nice job so far since his transfer at that particular position. I mean, they're going to have a couple of guys in the offensive line. They're, Jaheim Bell at tight end and Keon Coleman at, in the slot. It could be really, really good for him defensively as well. They've added some other pieces, including Fentrell Cypress, the corner out of Virginia. So Florida State has done phenomenal things in the transfer portal, and that's plug and play. And it's very important, but obviously for Seminole fans, you understand that the lifeline of the program is recruiting. And Florida State really upped that in the month of July, and they certainly upped it the first weekend of August, getting the kid out of Georgia, Bolden, the five-star safety. So it appears that Mike Norvell is finally getting things rolling as far as recruiting. All right, I want to spend some time talking about the top 25 poll that came out, because to me it's fascinating. For starters, the first thing that really does come to mind for me is the top three teams right now in college football. Neither of the three have a returning quarterback. You know what? All right, yeah, as a matter of fact, why don't we do this? Well, let me get caught up on some of these breaks, and then I'll be able to really take off with this coming up on the other side. Georgia, Michigan, and Alabama, was that the top? It is the top three, so that's actually wrong. I read something today where they ranked the top three as Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan. Obviously, Michigan does return its quarterback, and J.J. McCarthy is going to be – could he be a Heisman Trophy candidate when you have arguably the best running back in the nation there with Blake Corum? Is it going to take some votes away? That'll be interesting in itself. But, Michigan's close. They finally knocked off Ohio State. They're finally winning top 10, top 5 games. So when I saw this early, it was incorrect because I just re-looked the coaches poll. It goes Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State, and LSU. But when I do return, let's get into that and look at what is going on as far as the teams who realistically have a chance to win a national title. And you and I know that no one comes from behind. No one comes from the teens. No one comes from the 20s. No one comes from being unranked all the way up to where you win a national title, right? We all agree upon that. There's always a team that makes a run. Baylor will make a run. TCU will make a run. Cincinnati will make a run. Oregon will make a run. Teams make runs. Teams put together great years. But we know that you're not going to have any national championship type teams. Gibby, do you know who the last team was to win a national title for the first time? The last school. To win it for the first time.
Tennessee? No.
Good guess. They had success way back when.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Right. Same conference.
Gosh, same conference. So, somebody in the SEC then. Auburn? No.
It is not out in the plains. It is the 1996 Florida Gators.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right.
Florida State in 93, Florida in 96. Those are the last two schools to win a national championship for the first time. And I know you could say, well, all these others, and, I'm kind of looking at things non-prehistoric. You know, if you want to go back and crown that A&M title in like 1930 or when the Minnesota Golden Gophers won in the 30s or stuff like that, fine. But I'm kind of talking about, you know, can we say from like 1970 on? Is that fair? 1970 on? You know, that's 50 some odd years, right? That's what, 53 years? In the last 53 years, it's just nuts. And in this, you know, in the NFL, out of the 32 teams, you only have 20 teams who've won a Super Bowl. Think about that. 20-12. You know, there's 5 or 6 teams. Actually, I think it's down to 4 now who have never been to a Super Bowl. Jacksonville, unfortunately, is one of the teams who's never been to a Super Bowl. But out of the 32 teams, only 20 have never won a Super Bowl. And or excuse me, 20 have won it, 12 have not. I do think that's on the cusp of changing. I'm convinced Buffalo will never win a Super Bowl. You know, certain things in life are never going to change, right? Rosie O'Donnell using a fork. The Buffalo Bills winning a Super Bowl. It's not going to happen. Cincinnati? Okay. I'll listen to you there. Jacksonville? I'll listen to you there. Who else? Detroit? Still have a tough time swallowing that pill, right? Minnesota? No, certainly not this year, right? Where else are you going to go? Atlanta? No. Carolina? No. Arizona? No. So, yeah, you got 12 teams who haven't won it. I think I nailed it. I think the 3. Now, if you were to take a national survey, they probably in order would go Cincinnati, Buffalo, Jacksonville. Those would be the 3. Am I wrong? Okay. In my order, I'm going to go Cincinnati, Jacksonville, and then Buffalo. I'm just not convinced that Buffalo is going to win. It's kind of like asking the Toronto Maple Leafs to win a Stanley Cup. They haven't won one of those since 1967. I mean, that's where the Hockey Hall of Fame is. That's where many people believe that hockey, where they first dropped the puck, right there in Toronto, although the folks in Montreal would probably throw hands to that statement. But certain things just aren't meant to be. It's the same deal with college football. And I hate to be repetitive about this, but you can ask yourself, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? And is college football, even though this 12-team college football playoff is ahead of us, it used to be 6 conference champions. I got to believe they're going to slice that in half. I mean, can you really send a team from the Pac-12? Can you really send a team from the Big 12? If Florida State and Clemson and Virginia and North Carolina leave, and I did hear what Greg Sankey said today as the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, but can you really give a title out of the ACC? So I think they're going to have to totally rechange that way of thinking and create more at-large bids. But that's what's disappointing to so many in college football is that it really is supermodel after supermodel. At least the NFL, every single year, has a team who finished last in the division one year, turn around to win the division the next year. Case in point, the Jaguars, 2021 to 2022. In college football, I mean, look at this. From 12 on, are you going to make a case for me with Texas? You're trying to tell me that Chris Jackson, the guy who lied here, is the wide receivers coach, and in Jacksonville, he's going to go over there and be a big part of that turnaround offensively with Steve Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers and Archie waiting for that opportunity. Texas ain't winning a national title. Notre Dame? Sam Hartman goes from Wake to Notre Dame. Notre Dame doesn't have the speed to compete. Utah? All right, Utah, we're going to find out so much about early on because that first Thursday night in college football, that is where Florida goes to play. But, is Cameron Rising, is he going to play with that torn ACL after his rehabilitation? And if so, how much of a factor is he going to be? Even though Utah right now is a large favorite. They're like an 8.5-point favorite over Florida. Oregon, please. TCU, Kansas State, Oregon State. I mean, it's a waste of time. You go inside the top 10. The preseason poll is accurate, and that is where you're finding your national champion. When we come back, let's take a look at that. And the quarterbacks at these schools, I think it is absolutely the difference maker. Can any of these new quarterbacks be talented enough with very little experience to take this team into a college football playoff? We got that to get into. If you would like to join the conversation, by all means, whether it's the Jaguars depth chart or anything you just heard me say about Florida State or college football as a whole, the best way for you to join us is on the text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. That number is 641-1010.
Bringing spirited sports conversation to you.
That's impossible.
Morning to night.
That's impossible. Who are you?
Jacksonville Sports Radio. 1010XL.
Baloo here for Shinatri Chiropractic, the breakdown of the body. Stop fighting it. Visit Shinatri Chiropractic, the official chiropractor of JU Athletics. Back and neck pain, arms, legs giving you problems. Get an effective diagnosis and treatment with an adjustment or dry needling. How about acupuncture, which I love because it works? Get rid of your pain and tension. Call 743-6700 or visit them at 2711 University Boulevard, Shinatri Chiropractic.
Hun, the drain really smells.
Yeah, wow, it does.
I think it's getting backed up. What should we do? Did you just quack like a duck?
Yes, I did.
Duck Rooter, your plumbing pros in Northeast Florida. Need help with a plumbing issue at your home or business? Just call the Duck.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Want to help improve the lives of women and make sure that all survivors of sexual assault are treated with compassion and respect? Join Farah and Farah and the Women's Center of Jacksonville at the summer's biggest breakfast, Thrive, on August 22nd to learn how to pick up the pieces after life throws you a curveball. The Women's Center of Jacksonville is a valuable community resource offering free services when they are needed the most, but they need your support. Visit the WCJ.org for more information on Thrive.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 8, 1992, the original Dream Team win basketball gold at the Olympics 117-85, featuring Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Charles Barkley.
Introducing the latest menu addition at your neighborhood Woody's Barbecue. Now you can get fried chicken and fried pork. Whoa, Nelly!
At Woody's Barbecue, it's what we do.
Let's eat.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Mia here and my friends over at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned are fighting inflation and saving you even more. That pre-owned 2019 Toyota Corolla I told you about, it's no longer $1,000 down. It is now just $500 down and $288 per month. Or you choose a pre-owned 2020 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma, now just $500 down and $388 per month. With over 400 used cars in stock, plus more than 100 vehicles under $18K, Arlington is fighting inflation and saving you big time. Find out more at arlingtontoyota.com.
Hey, Hicken here. I hope your summer's been as fun as mine. We had some great vacations, did some traveling. Must admit, though, I'm looking forward to everybody kind of getting back into order. My youngest going off to college. Everything got is settling down in the house. Man, the house is taking a beating, so the towel and grout, the carpets and rugs all need a good cleaning. Time to call Zero Res. Right now, Zero Res offering the hottest price of the year on tile and grout cleaning. Get your towel and grout cleaned and sealed 25% off. Zero Res, man. Spell it forward, Zero Res, spell it backward. Right way to clean.
Superior Fence and Rail knows about exceptional customer service. From the first call to the final inspection, Superior's team provides first-class care with great communication, friendly installers, and quality fence products. There's a reason why Superior is the top-rated fence company in Jacksonville. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your new fence today.
When you're on the fence about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Ackerman Urology offers the most advanced options for improving men's health and vitality. Their board-certified urologists treat all prostate disease and sexual health issues. Call their new location on Atlantic and Hodges or visit AckermanUrology.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Not a big fan of lying, hence the truth teller. But I did tell one because I told you that everything that I want to get into as far as college football was coming up right now. That is impossible. Why? Because I've been flapping my gums. It's already 52 past, so want to save it for the top of the hour. Let's spend a minute on the Great American Pastime. Bad news in Tampa today. Shane McClanahan may be done for the year. Highly unlikely, Kevin Cash said, Gibby, with that left forearm.
It's brutal. He's the ace for the Rays, and boy, I don't know. I can't remember a pitching staff that has been decimated within the regular season like the Rays have been. They lost Jeffrey Springs. He was really hot when he first started this year. They lost Drew Rasmussen. They've lost 4/5 of their rotation, 3/5 of the rotation this year. And the Rays are a good, solid team. The Orioles have passed them in the American League East, Rick, but they're still a good team. But I just keep telling people I don't know how you can still win games and expect to win games when you've sustained so many starter injuries.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of these playoff teams, you look at Jake DeGrom in Texas. I'd like to throw Boston in there, but they're not a playoff team. But, you know, Chris Sale went down again. Kershaw, who reportedly is going to be able to go Thursday, or they're hoping he's going to go Thursday for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's been outstanding this year, but he's only given them 16 starts in 95 innings, and that's been kind of, you know, his book. He hasn't had more than 25 starts. I think you got to go back 6 or 7 years since that's happened for Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, it's been the health with him. He's had the back. That's been a problem for him for a period of time. So, you know, Hall of Fame guy for sure. He's just got to continue to stay healthy, and that's been his biggest problem. You know, going back to Tampa, they did acquire pitching help at the trade deadline. Aaron Savale's a pretty solid guy they got from Cleveland, but he's not an ace. I mean, the trade deadline's passed. If McClanahan's done for the year, and it sounds like from the reports that he is, the Rays are done. The Rays, I mean, you can't lose the amount of pitching that they've lost, and you can't lose McClanahan and expect to go on and win a World Series. It's not going to happen for the Rays this year because of the injuries, in my opinion.
All right, Giolito went to Los Angeles, showing everyone that they were, you know, going to stay with Ohtani. You know, obviously they'd like to have Trout back, but Ohtani's a free agent at the end of the year. Scherzer is going tonight. He got rocked in the first inning, his last out, and gave up 3, but stuck it out as he always does. He ended up going 7 innings, settled down, and got the win. We saw Verlander get beat the other day in Houston. So out of those 3, was it Lance Lynn? Who was the other best starter, in your opinion, who has gone to a team, or is it clearly one of the 3 that I mentioned?
Well, I think Lance Lynn has really performed well. He's had 2 starts since he got traded from the White Sox to the Dodgers, and both of those have been quality starts for the Dodgers, in his last 2 starts. And, Lance Lynn was a guy that was really prone to the home run ball. With the White Sox, he just didn't have great, starts in his first handful of starts, and now the last 2 have been really good for Lance Lynn. He's a big dude, too. He's 6'5", probably 260, something like that. So he's a workhorse, a guy that's up in his 30s, but he can still get it done. Speaking of other guys that you mentioned, Max Scherzer did get hit a little bit at the beginning of his first start with Texas, but he then settled down. I think Scherzer's still got maybe one or 2 maybe good runs in him, but he's long in the tooth, that's for sure.
What's so weird about baseball is you play 162 games, but for the most part, the best teams win in basketball, hockey, although my Bruins had the best record ever, and they blew games 5, 6, and 7, including games 2, 5, and 7 at home. Certainly in football, college or pro, usually the best teams win. Baseball's such a weird sport, man. You could take, Frangie yesterday was talking about how they're going to get no hit by Strider, who's arguably, right there for the National League Cy Young. The guy can't get out of the 3rd inning against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I know. When he's on, he's got no-hit stuff. He really does, to Frank's point. But yesterday he wasn't. And he has had a penchant for, you get to maybe the 5th or 6th inning, and in the case yesterday, as you mentioned, the 3rd inning, he couldn't get through it. But he has a tendency to, at the 5th or 6th inning, 3rd time through the order, they just rock him. And he's been up and down. Look, the pitching is a very big question mark for the Atlanta Braves. They have given up since the All-Star break 5 or 6 runs a game. It's not going to be good enough. The offense is going to be able to carry you for a lot of games, but you can't every night consistently count on the offense. Offense is going to have a bad night. It happens. You play enough games, the offense is just not going to have it, and the pitching has been way too inconsistent for the Braves. And if they want to win a World Series, and a lot of people expect them to, the pitching's got to get better, and they didn't make a huge push at the trade deadline. They didn't make a lot of moves that way. They kind of piecemealed it here and there with the bullpen, but, man, I don't know, Rick. The question for me with the Braves is starting pitching's got to get better.
And that's almost the question for every playoff-bound team.
It is.
Major League Baseball, they brought in the fences, they lowered the mound. I actually like what they did, but no longer allowing the shift, a second baseman playing over the bag, to the side of the shortstop and vice versa. But it just we talk all the time about how the NFL has changed its rules to favor the offense. It's almost the same thing, but it doesn't get nearly the attention in Major League Baseball. And without any doubt right now, you get a premier pitcher who can give you 30-plus starts a year and be effective. That is so rare. Look at all the money that's been spent for these guys, and we just highlighted several of which can't even go out and pitch right now because they're injured.
Yeah, I think for the Braves, the one silver lining for them is they just got Max Fried back, and Strider has been really good the last couple of years. The last 2 times that he's been able to be a starter, but Max Fried being back is huge for the Braves. He made his first start in Chicago a couple days ago and went 6. The guys that can go 6 and be an ace like Fried guys are very few and far between, as you know.
All right, let's get ready for our second hour. That's coming up right now. We're going to begin with college football. The top, let's look at the top 10 or 11 teams who I really think could have an opportunity this year to win. And let's go to the most important part of that. That is obviously the signal caller. A little bit later on in the program, have something on the Jags that I think you will find interesting. It involves the world of gaming, which, if you're not aware, Jacksonville was a 4-point favorite Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock in Dallas. Your
Love it.
total, 37.5 points. That is the latest numbers out of Las Vegas. Yes, people do bet on the preseason. All right, we got much more to do. He's Gibby. My name's Rick Ballou. This is Into the Night. You want to join the conversation? Best way to do it is on our text line. That is 641-1010, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures.
You're AFC South champs, baby.
It's a new season.
I like where this team's headed.
A new era.
The players here want to win.
A new hope.
I want to win.
We're all here to win.
Guys have that feeling, the taste in their mouth.
This is where the dream begins. The Dallas Cowboys. Hear it happen Saturday at 2 on 1010XL.
There are 16 spots in the playoffs and just one track left. Well, not just any track.
We're basically going to have to win.
Daytona. A last chance to keep playoff hopes alive.
1 point to the good.
And for fans to experience an event unlike any other. NASCAR weekend at Daytona International Speedway, August 25th and 26th. Get your tickets now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford.
Well, Jacksonville, as we turn the TV on in hopes of hearing something positive, we're hit with another mass shooting or murder on the local level. It seems to never end. We pray, we fast, and any number of other things. We do have to understand, as James said in the Bible, paraphrasing, prayer without works is dead. We as a community have got to get active to remove these individuals from our streets. How do we do that? Glad you asked. You can become a member of Mad Dash by calling 904-718-1649. We will train you on how to go to the streets to remove the individuals responsible for the crime from the community. We've got to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think.
For information about Mad Dad, go to Mad Dad's Jacksonville Chapter Facebook or MadDad'sJacksonville.com.
There's certain places you know if you go in, they got what you're looking for, like Gate Convenience Stores and Cold Modelo's. That's the ticket. Or get on the craft side of things with something from Bold City or Sweetwater. Hit the cooler at Gate, full of choices and all of them good.
At Andy's Automotive and Truck Services, they know that your company's fleet is more than just a bunch of cars and trucks. It's your livelihood, your reputation, your pride. So when you need routine fleet maintenance or emergency repairs, Andy's offers after-hours and mobile service to minimize your downtime and keep your fleet running like new. While you care for your employees and customers, rest assured Andy's Automotive will take care of your fleet. Visit the team at andysats.com.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Keeping your body healthy and active leads to a more vibrant life. A great place to do that is the First Coast YMCA. The Y is equipped with state-of-the-art cardio and strength equipment, plus group exercise studios where trainers host activities like yoga, Zumba, and cycling sessions. The full-court basketball gym and indoor 5-lane swimming pool are open year-round. The Kids Zone can keep an eye on your kids while you work on that dad bod. And it's all available with your family membership. Learn more at fcymca.org.
It's your go-to for golf talk. The Edwin Watts Golf Hour.
All we need to do is develop the rest of your game. Then you'll be unstoppable, son.
Get local updates, gear reviews, and all things golf talk. Saturday mornings at 10 on 1010XL.
Lauren Brooks here. Tired of joint pain holding you back? Try BioTarget from Injury Care Centers. This treatment will prolong the life of your joints by targeting the root of your pain and delivering more regenerative cells to the affected area, ensuring faster and more effective healing, making BioTarget the most advanced regenerative treatment. For a limited time, BioTarget starts as low as $499. Call Injury Care Centers or visit GoBioTarget.com. That's GoBioTarget.com.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. We're your local family jeweler for 46 years in Jacksonville with a huge selection of diamonds, gemstones, and pre-owned Rolex watches. And Monahan Jewelers is your store for expert jewelry repair turned around in 1 or 2 days. Most jewelry stores take 2 weeks or more, and many stores send your jewelry somewhere else for repair. At Monahan Jewelers, our jewelry repair is done in-house by expert craftsmen, and Monahans can turn around most repairs in a day or two. So bring your jewelry repair to Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, I knew that Netflix was coming out with a couple of new documentaries. I guess one is on Florida, going back to, Aaron Hernandez and everything that happened, the good and the bad, I guess. And also the Johnny Manziel one, which apparently is out. Not aware of this. I'm going to have to get to it fairly quickly here. But I just saw something that came out moments ago that during an interview for this documentary, Johnny Manziel admitted that he watched zero tape during his time with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, think about that for a moment. First things first, give him credit for admitting it, but what a tool. I mean, this league is based so much on preparation and rep after rep after rep. And Trevor Lawrence, to see how much this, and to compare Johnny Manziel to Trevor Lawrence is absurd. But Johnny Manziel had some God-given ability, and he watched zero tape. So I'm going to have to check that out. That is fascinating to me. That just rolled in a couple of moments ago. All right, let's take a look at the top of the poll here. Just want to throw this out. Give you my opinion on what I believe with, what is going to transpire here. And it feels like the top four schools, right? Georgia, Michigan, Bama, Ohio State. They're going to face one another, right? If Bama does its job, if Georgia does its job, they're going to meet in Atlanta for the SEC championship game. We also know that final weekend of November, you get Ohio State in Michigan. Now, only one of the four has a quarterback who returns. And to me, that is an absolute difference maker. Is it to the point where I'm actually going to pick Michigan to win a national championship this year? I still have a couple of weeks before I get that opportunity, to actually make that selection. But certainly, for me, they're one team I'm looking at right now because they do have plenty of experience when it's all said and done at quarterback. And I think that cannot be discussed enough. There are massive growing pains. I mean, it just doesn't happen overnight. Just let me see real quick. Michigan, it doesn't, even with all this Florida State talk about the Big Ten, it's not like it's murderer's row there. It's really just two teams, and Penn State I'll get to in a moment if you want to consider them a third team. But you can't tell me that Wisconsin or Michigan State or any of those other schools really pose a massive threat to make a run. They don't. Can they knock off a heavy every once in a while? Absolutely. I mean, going into Madison is difficult. Going to Minnesota outside in those conditions are at times very difficult. But, all right, here we go. Michigan, East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, Rutgers. For a moment there, I forgot that Rutgers was actually in the Big Ten. So you get 3 non-conference games to begin, then you get the 9 in-conference games. You go to Nebraska, all right? Traditionally, I love to say, what a game. I mean, you say Michigan, Nebraska, those two, split national were these split national championship teams, I believe, in 97, right? Minnesota, Indiana, Michigan State, Purdue, at Penn State, at Maryland, and Ohio State. All right, so 3 games stick out. At Michigan State, at Penn State, and home with Ohio State. If you want to make a big deal about going into Minnesota, I'll listen to you. I don't think you can make a big deal right now about going into Nebraska. Still, though, they have 3 of their last 5 on the road. And then, of course, you will get a Big Ten championship game. Am I going to pick them to win the national title? We'll see. They come in at number 2. Georgia is at number 1. It's all about Carson Beck, right? I mean, this team has won 2 in a row. They're bound to slip up at one point. What really helps Georgia more than anything is, and I've been saying this all off season, it is absolutely positively the easiest SEC schedule that I've ever seen for Georgia. And, I'm not being wise about this. How come I can't get this computer to work? Brand new computer in here, and I can't figure it out. But anyway, the only reason why I want to get to the computer was to try to get Georgia's schedule out for you. Unfortunately, I am unable to do that. Either I'm technically on sound, which is probably it, or the computer has just gone completely. I got it on the other screen. How do I have it on the other screen? Here we go. I figured it out now. So that's what's going to happen every here and there. But anyway, Carson Beck, you hope he ends up really developing this year for Georgia. On top of that, I look at the fact that they lost Todd Monken. So here's a guy who's been around for a couple of years, right? Here's a guy who's taken plenty of reps in practice. He's a guy who has had limited play in his career as a backup, but he was used to, a system. And I know it's not going to change dramatically. I'm aware of that, but still the guy who was calling plays is no longer going to be there for Georgia. Here's my deal with the Bulldogs and why I am absolutely considering them for something that I thought I would never say in college football, for a three-peat. I think they go 12-0. I mean, where do you see a hiccup here? Even if Oklahoma was on the schedule, which they're not, okay, you look at UT Martin, Ball State, South Carolina, UAB, all at home in the month of September for Georgia, the world's largest, or the world's longest, the oldest rivalry in the South with Auburn, to open up their road schedule. Kentucky at Vanderbilt, Florida here, Missouri, Mississippi. You get Tennessee at the right time. You get them late on the road because Tennessee was really top-heavy, and then they had some injuries, and we'll see what Joe Milton is able to do this year for Tennessee. They're a team that a lot of folks are going to end up picking. This just in. Joe Milton, 3 years at Michigan, right? 2 years at Tennessee. He was nearly flawless when he came in after Hendon Hooker. He had 10 touchdowns, no picks. But again, not a tremendous amount of starting experience. Very limited, as a matter of fact. What he does have going for him is that he spent 5 years in college football. So he is not, a young guy, to say the least. He's taking advantage of the extra year because of COVID. And obviously there's a lot of positive things that have been said about him, including maybe even becoming a dark horse to win the Heisman Trophy. We'll see about Tennessee, but when I look at Georgia, my goodness, that's one of the easiest schedules that I have ever seen in the history of the Southeastern Conference. All right, so let me get back to this. Georgia's 1, Michigan 2, Alabama, there you have it. I mean, Alabama's got as much talent as anyone in college football. Who's going to win that job? Is it going to be Jalen Milroe? Ty Simpson, Tyler Buckner. Nick Saban talks about it all the time. The competition is ongoing. Unless something happened today that somehow I missed. Alabama comes in at number 3. They got NFL players all over their roster, as you know, offensively and defensively. I've already cheated and looked at the 2024 mock drafts, a few of them, littered, including what? Kool-Aid McKinstry, one of the cool names, no pun intended, in college football. But again, you got to bring in a new quarterback at Alabama. Number 4 is Ohio State. Same deal there. And it feels like the pressure is starting to get on Ohio State a little bit. It looks like it's going to be Kyle McCord who takes over as the quarterback. Devin Brown is there. But all of a sudden, you're losing to Michigan. All of a sudden, you're not a shoe-in, year out to win the Big Ten and to make a run at the college football playoff. I do think they're right with being a preseason number 4. I have no problem with that, but are you going to pick Ohio State to win a national title? I could tell you right now, I'm not. Out of the 3 teams I just mentioned, that's one I'll eliminate right now. I don't think it happens this year for Ohio State. All right, number 5 is LSU. That could be the team to beat in the most difficult division in college football. Brian Kelly's a really good coach. Jaden Daniels is a really good quarterback, and he returns with a ton of experience. And LSU has a very formidable schedule. And you know what? All of this hype that is going to grow day by day for Florida State and LSU, if LSU gets beat, you know what it means? It means nothing. As long as they don't get crushed, even if they were to get heavily served, and I don't think that's going to be the case. I haven't made my prediction on this game. I won't until, the Friday before. But if LSU loses, as long as they get back in order and win the SEC, there's no way you're going to be able to keep them out of a college football playoff. Grambling is the week after. They start by going to Mississippi State, which can be a tough putt if you're not aware. And then it's brutal. It's the West. It's Arkansas. It's at Ole Miss. Missouri, which obviously is East. Auburn, Army, at Bama, Florida, Georgia State, Texas A&M. That is a really difficult schedule. As a matter of fact, the only team they can really look at here and say they're missing, well, I guess there's 2. You could say Georgia and Tennessee. But I think LSU coming in at number 5 in the preseason. No doubt about it. You can make a case there. Maybe one of the most fascinating teams in college football right now to take a look at is USC, who comes in at number 6, because this thing could go to the extent of playing for a national championship. You also get the feeling that it could really implode, right? And when I look at USC, they are so incredibly talented offensively. They showed a lot of warts a year ago on the defensive side of the football. And Caleb Williams legitimately now has a chance to join Archie Griffin and become the first 2-time ever Heisman Trophy winner. But would you be surprised at all that if after the year, not only does Caleb Williams go, and maybe he's the first pick in the draft, him along with Drake May out of North Carolina, but on top of that, if Lincoln Riley finally said, you know what, it's time, and this thing at USC was great, now you're going to tell me we're going in and playing a Big Ten schedule, I'm out of here. I'm going to go to the NFL, even though we've had the recent track record of teams, coaches just really, really struggling going from college football to the NFL. The other thing that I don't know if folks in the Deep South realize this year, the Pac-12's pretty good. The Pac-12 has 3 teams in the top 10. If you look at UW and Oregon, or at least in the top 15, let me see here. UW's 11, Oregon's 15. Utah 14. I left Utah out, who Florida opens up with. So that's your issue. I mean, look at USC. Non-conference games with San Jose State and Nevada. Then you have Stanford at Arizona State, at Deion in Colorado. Arizona at Notre Dame, which, along with Florida State, Florida, is still the only non-conference rivalry that even matters in college football. I ask all the time. I don't know if I've done it on air. I certainly do it off air. Give me another legitimate non-conference rivalry. And don't waste my time and tell me Kentucky and Louisville, because that's a basketball rivalry. And don't waste my time and tell me Georgia, Georgia Tech. There aren't any. Clemson, South Carolina. I mean, There's not. Texas A&M, Texas is over. Oklahoma, Nebraska is over. Michigan, Notre Dame is over. Pittsburgh, Penn State is over. The great rivalries that made college football what it is, they're over. You have two. Florida State, Florida, and USC, Notre Dame. And by the time that those schools meet, there's no guarantee that either of those four are in the top 25 or facing one another. Chances are Florida State, at least one of the schools, is going to be in the top 25. And chances are USC, Notre Dame, one of the schools is going to be in the top 25. But there's no guarantee with where those games are played at that time of year, especially the one here, that both teams are going to be top 25 teams. It's been a long time since you've seen that with Florida State. So they go at Notre Dame, Utah, at Cal, Washington at home, at Oregon, UCLA. Unbelievable right there for the Trojans. All right, final couple of thoughts on teams that I still think can make a run here. Obviously, Florida State. The good is that they return Jordan Travis. The good is that they return most of their offense. They return stars on their defense. You're going to know about Florida State right out of the gate because their two most difficult opponents are in the month of September. You have LSU in Orlando. Now, this game means much more to Florida State than it does to LSU. I just gave you the simple way of thinking. If LSU loses, as long as they get back on track by running through the SEC, it doesn't matter. For Florida State, I think it does to some extent. If they get blown out, it's going to be tough to come back from that. If they lose and it's a tightly contested game, then if they go on and beat Clemson on the road and they win the rest of their games, okay, you can certainly make a point that they could get back into that Final Four. The Clemson game could be a rematch. Remember, the divisions are gone in the ACC. No more Atlantic, no more Coastal. The two best teams will meet for the ACC championship game. The biggest question I have with Florida State is not LSU, is not Clemson. It's about beating teams that they should beat. And that's the first thing they have to do, in my opinion, to completely turn this thing around. Some have already felt like it's turned around with a 10-3 mark. You got to beat the Wake Forest, man. You got to beat the Pitts. You got to beat those teams. If Clemson gets you, get better. If LSU gets you, get better. You got to beat the teams you are supposed to beat. We'll see what happens there with Florida State. I think a lot of people are going to pick them. Right behind them is Clemson. This whole Cade Klubnik deal, I talked with him 2 weeks ago in Charlotte. Cade Klubnik has 2 career passing touchdowns. He only got a couple of starts very late in the year. Okay? He threw 1 touch and he threw 2 picks. For the year, 697 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Lincoln Riley's younger brother is in, and Garrett Riley, obviously a brilliant mind, but it's wide open for Clemson right now. Could Clemson beat Florida State once, maybe even twice? Absolutely. Do I think Clemson's going to win a national title? I don't. And they've got 8 returning defensive players, including several that are going to the NFL. After that, it's really a laugh. 10 is Tennessee. No. 11 is Washington. No. And then you get to 12, Texas, 13, Notre Dame. 4, no. I just gave you 9 teams. Everyone who does this for a living, when they make their predictions, is going to pick one of those 9 schools to win a national championship. And I'll tell you right now, I'm eliminating Ohio State. I didn't talk about Penn State. Imagine my embarrassment, okay? I didn't spend any time on the Nittany Lions. It's all about Drew Aller, and it's a very similar situation of Cade Klubnik. Here's a guy with 4 touchdowns, okay? 35 of 60 in his career for 344 yards. A totally untested quarterback. I'm getting rid of, with the top 9, I'm getting rid of 3 schools immediately who don't have a tested quarterback. Columbus, Ohio, gone. Happy Valley, Penn State, gone. Clemson, South Carolina, they shut the bars at 11 o'clock there and at Anderson, South Carolina, right next door, the home of Jim Rice. I turned 28 there one year doing Florida State baseball, and I went out to celebrate, and the bars were closed. Clemson, gone. That leaves Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, LSU, USC, and Florida State. I got it to 6 schools. And I don't want to piss off the alumni, but I'm not picking Florida State to win a national title, okay? I'm just not. I can't. Because I don't feel they can do it yet. Because they can't beat the schools that they are supposed to beat. So realistically, I'm down to 5, okay? Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, LSU, and USC. My national champion will be coming from that group of 5. And I think you'll see most of America do the exact same thing. Maybe the one exclusion will be Ohio State. There'll be some Ohio State love. That's where you have it. Quarterbacks are so important, and, you know, it's going to be a lot of fun to sit back and watch, but I think that's what you're going to see come into play for the 2023 college football season. All right, when we return, I got a nugget here. I love nuggets, and I found it earlier today. I want to get into it with you here on the other side. Let's shift our attention back to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were off today. They're back at it in the morning at 8:50, so I'll have a full report tomorrow, 6 to 8. Of course, we come on after Helmets and Heels on Tuesday. Tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, we'll be back with you, 6 to 8.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
How long have we been friends? We're not friends.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
But if we teamed up, it could bring your career to the next level.
The Drill.
Imagine this.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
You can be part of a fishing tournament with a real local impact. The Triple Challenge Fishing Tournament, Party, and Silent Auction benefits young life in the beaches community. Learn more at JacksonvilleBeachesYoungLife.org.
To learn more about the Jericho School Golf Tournament and Silent Auction at Blue Sky Golf Club October 21st, visit thejerichoschool.org.
Make a difference on the golf course. Playing one of the best tournaments and help make Jacksonville a safer place to live and raise our families. The First Coast Crime Stoppers Golf Tournament is October 23rd at Amelia River Club. Call 398-5883.
The Knights of Columbus 5535 Annual Golf Tournament is November 6th at Glen Kernan Country Club. To find out how to play or sponsor, call 249-5535.
To walk in the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Light the Night Walk on November 16th at UNF. Register at lighttenight.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Honey-do list around the house just getting longer? First Coast Home Pros has handyman services you can trust. From bathroom remodeling to home repairs, First Coast Home Pros has you covered. Go to firstcoasthomepros.com.
Listen for stories on Florida State's quest for glory.
The Seminole Report takes I-10 West to bring you the latest from the city of Garnet and Gold.
Brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team on 1010XL.
Hey everybody, August is here, and you know what that means. It's the official start of Fantasy Football Drafting Month. This is Mike Dempsey, inviting you to get championship ready for your home league by trying out best ball leagues on Underdog Fantasy. All you do is one live snake draft with no waivers and no trades, and Underdog will set your best lineup every single week. Try it out with Underdog's Best Ball Mania tournament. The largest fantasy football contest of all time is back and even bigger, with $15 million of total prizes up for grabs, including an absurd $3 million going to the winner. Last year, the winner drafted their team in July, so don't wait around. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. Sign up with promo code 1010XL to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code 1010XL. You must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit. August 12th, the St. Augustine Amphitheater. With special guest, the Baseball Project. Jason Isbell and the 400 Units. Buy tickets at the box office or Ticketmaster.com. Weather Vanes, out now.
Wondering what you're going to do for dinner tonight? Southern Steer Butcher is a full-service butcher, and we grind and make sausage in-house every day.
Now open in Ortega. For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, very busy week around the NFL. Week 1 for the Jaguars as far as preseason. They will be in Dallas. That'll be at 5 o'clock coming up on Saturday. All preseason games, 3 in a row, will be on Saturday. And then, of course, you'll get 2 weeks off, which I know is going to be torture for fans. And that's going to happen up until the September 10th opener on that Sunday at Indianapolis. The good news is you'll have high school football, you'll have college football, so your fix will be in a couple of weeks prior to that. But I get it. You want the NFL, that's the king, and you're going to have to wait a little bit extra. But the good news is it gets extended a little bit farther into the month of January. 2 games coming up on Thursday. The Texans at the Patriots. It's already been announced. C.J. Stroud is going to start his preseason opener in New England. The Vikings and the Seahawks as well on Thursday. Then you got 6 games on Friday. Green Bay at Cincy, the Giants at Detroit, Falcons in Miami, Pittsburgh at Tampa, where they don't know about the quarterback. Kind of a major deal today, Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield. Even Adam Schefter's like, I've never seen an or before. You kidding me?
Yeah, right.
Didn't they have an or with Trevor Lawrence and Gardner Minshew?
Comically, yes, they did. But the or has been on like every college depth chart for years.
Yeah, and maybe his point was NFL.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was, but still, I mean, come on. D.C. and Cleveland, Denver at Carolina. A couple of other things just to consider on Saturday. The Titans really have been talking up DeAndre Hopkins. Apparently he is off to a phenomenal start. You just know how it's been around here with Calvin Ridley. My understanding is that the buzz is pretty similar right now in Nashville. Indianapolis, for what it's worth, also plays on Saturday in Buffalo, and that thing right now is crumbling. Okay, Jonathan Taylor has gotten up and left. He's now going to rehabilitate his ankle outside of training camp. Apparently, he is absolutely beside himself, if you can be that way, because of what Jim Irsay said and just everything around the league as far as their respect, financially speaking, for running backs. All right, to the Jaguars, this is fascinating because, as I said, I'm going to dive back into the gambling a little bit this fall. It's been 10 years. I just quit. One of the major reasons why I quit was because I was a Jaguars sideline reporter. I just thought it was ethically the right thing to do. I'm not going to bet on the Jaguars or bet against the Jaguars because I cover the team, and I'm just not going to. I've never been told I can or I can't. I'm just not going to. Okay? The last thing I would want is to have, my credentials stripped and I'm no longer allowed to go to practice and cover this team and interview the players and everything. So I'm just going to leave it alone. There's other things to look at. I think you'll see anyway, when I do make my plays, the ability to restrain, the ability to say no. If I don't like a game, I'm not going to play a game. I may play 1 or 2 NFL games a week. I may play 3 or 4 college games a week. Those are why the best gamblers survive. The addicts, you see a game, you got to play it, right? It's just like an alcoholic. You see a drink, you got to drink it. Just like a sexaholic, you see someone, you got to do whatever it takes to be with her. I'm a foodaholic. I binge eat. There's no stopping me. You could line up the Jaguars' offensive line. You could line up Rosie O'Donnell. I'll eat with them all. And, that's just the way that I am. But I can control my urge to gamble. Jaguar fans, this blew me away. The Jaguars were 8-9 last year against the spread. I talked about that months ago, okay? I'm a big proponent of checking trends. They're important. You can't live by them, but they're important. The Jaguars in the last 12 years have only had 1 winning season against the spread. And think of how many times they were underdogs in those games. That was the playoff year of 2017. They went 9-7. You go 9-7, you're making decent money. Okay, you go 8-7, you're just barely getting by. I'm talking about financially speaking. You go 9-7, okay, you're doing all right. But that's it over the last 12 years. So you have to take that into consideration. I've said all along, play the Jaguars to win the AFC South. Okay, that's gone from 150 to 160 to 165. It's now 180. Translation, you got to lay down $180 to win back $100 or to gain an additional 100. You get back 280. You know what I'm talking about. But you got to win the AFC South. And they won it last year. When's the last time they've won 2 in a row? Okay? A lot of people think you're going to go 6-0 against all these young quarterbacks in the AFC South. You've never gone 6-0. You've never gone 5-1. You've gone 4-2 3 times, including a year ago. In my opinion, 5-1 would be the safe bet. And that's the best they've ever done in the AFC South. Obviously, we'll see what does take place. But it's incredible to look at it that way. Also, as I've said forever, whenever I played NFL games, I am a much bigger fan of playing the total than I am of playing a side. I just think it's easier to figure out. Believe it or not, I actually prefer unders. Everyone wants an over, see the scoring and all this, and I get it. It's a better game to watch. I've had more success with unders and watched that clock tick away. Jacksonville last year, overs, 8-9. Right? That means unders. They were 9-8. So That's another consistently something that you may want to take a look at. And I know that doesn't have the appeal of picking a team. Most bet on picking a team, right? Call me crazy, but I think if you're going to gamble, you should pick on what you think gives you the best chance to win money. So playing a total over or playing a total under may not do it for you. But the Jaguars, they have gone 5 straight seasons with a losing record against the spread as far as overs, okay? So they're struggling in that particular category as well. Jacksonville is an interesting team to wager on. They have not been a moneymaker. They have been once in the last 12 years. It's amazing. So just keep that in your back pocket. I think things absolutely are changing for the better for the Jags. Okay, I mean, right now, Jacksonville's a 3.5 point at Indianapolis. I'm not going to bet any Jacksonville games, but right now, I like the Jaguars to slaughter Indianapolis. I mean, just slaughter them, right? Week 2, the Chiefs favored by 3 here. That whole heat element. To me, that has stay away written all over it. It just does. I don't know what to make of 2 really good teams that early. Again, that's the restraint of being able to just sit back and enjoy a game and not have money on it. Although you are getting points, so it would have been one thing if the Jags are favored, because that's the worst thing about betting on your team is if they win and they're actually favored and they don't cover. That's why I never understood why folks bet on their own team. It makes very little sense. Just a couple of others for you. Week 3 here, Jaguars favored by 8 against Houston. On the surface, it looks dominant for the Jags. That's a tricky number, 8, as opposed to 7. That's a very scary number. A couple of surprises on here for me. Week 7 in New Orleans, right? The Saints favored by 1. Week 8 at Pittsburgh, the Steelers favored by 1. Week 10 is a pick'em with the 49ers in town. Bengals a 1-point favorite here. Week 13. Is that Monday Night Football or maybe Sunday night? It's one of the two. We get a Monday Night Football game?
Yeah, Bengals is pretty sure it's Monday night. Let me look.
Yeah. Also, the Jaguars a 1-point underdog at Cleveland is one that really sticks out right now. And, you can be aggressive and say you're going to make that play now. I would never make a play like that now. The only play I would make is to win a divisional title or something along those lines because you never know who's going to be injured. You never know what the set of circumstances are going to be. When that game's played, it's obviously going to be very cold in Cleveland. So
the Bengals game is a Monday night.
Huh?
Monday night, December 4th.
There you have it. We'll have some fun with this throughout the course of the year. Again, I'm not going to play anything, but I would also like to take a look at some props, especially offensive props. Again, are there enough balls to go around? That's the question. I mean, this offense has been absolutely electrifying. Tank Bigsby's going to take away carries. Calvin Ridley's going to take away receptions. Brenton Strange is going to take away receptions. Am I ready to put Garrett Prince into that category yet? Probably not. I still think Doug wants to pass first, right? But if you have, and Bernie, when I talk with Bernie Parmalee, the running backs coach, and I spoke with him about getting leads and running the ball in the third and into the fourth quarter, his eyes bulged out of his head. That's how you win games, right? I mean, look at L.A. down up 27-0 against Jacksonville. Look at that 28-3 Atlanta against the New England Patriots. I mean, run the ball. When you run the ball, you take clock. Every time you run the ball, you're taking 30 to 45 seconds off the clock. That's how you win football games, with the lead. So that's going to be, and I hope that that's the case, really, that Jacksonville's out and they got a lead. They got a 2-possession plus lead. And, all you fantasy folks are foaming at the mouth. And it's, in my mind, it's give it to Tank. At that point, maybe even have ETN out. Heck, maybe at that point you're giving it to Hasty or you're giving it to Dearness Johnson. You have 4 backs that you like, and everyone's happy. I know this is wishful thinking. But others are going to be like, hey, you're up 14 points. No, I want the ball to go to Christian Kirk. No, I want the ball to go to Zay Jones. And with Doug Peterson calling plays, it's going to be interesting to see what he does with that. I would think with a lead like that, it would certainly be much higher percentage passes that Trevor's going to throw compared to earlier in the game when you're, obviously trying to get up and get a lead. More of the vertical style, which we've seen a ton of so far in camp. That's the one thing that has not been recognized, I think, by some. A lot of low percentage passes has been thrown by Trevor Lawrence so far in training camp. He's completed a lot of them. But it's not like watching Gardner Minshew or something like that, where it's all about the dump down variety. Your checks. Trevor's been spinning it downfield. All right, final thoughts on the other side. Let's do that. Hacker Nation is going to join you coming up at 10 o'clock. And, again, remember, tomorrow, Jaguars back at it. So I'll have a chance to talk with some players after the workout, and that'll be Wednesday from 6 to 8.
We got a great show for you today.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
A big show.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
A king-size show.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Who's your hero? Before you answer Superman, I don't mean those heroes. I'm talking our local heroes. Do you know one? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet want to recognize your hero in a big way. This year, we will recognize local heroes in our community and honor them with a brand new car. That's right, we'll be giving away a brand new car, cash, and free oil changes for life to our local heroes. Visit localwowheroes.com to nominate and vote today. Let's wow our heroes.
We've been telling you for almost a year about Nathan's Family Chiropractic and the 100-Year Lifestyle Network. If chronic back or joint pain is keeping you down, don't listen to me. Listen to what Jacksonville is saying about Dr. Alan Nathans.
The stem cell treatment took the pain away.
Changed my life. It's awesome.
Your body just works better when it's aligned. We're believers.
His no-needle regenerative protocols are giving people their lives back. Get yours back, too. Go to the pro in the know. Don't do another cortisone injection. He's one of us, helping all of us for the past 25 years. For more info, drnathans.com.
The coolers are full at your local Gate gas station, making it easy for you to cruise in and cruise out with little downtime. Ice cold Coronas, Natty Light, Stella Artois, and Michelob Ultra. Don't forget the king of beers, Cold Buds. Gate's got them in the cooler, waiting for you.
Introducing an exciting update from Duck Duck Rooter. We're thrilled to expand our services with the launch of Duck Duck Air Conditioning. As a fully licensed mechanical contractor, our skilled team is equipped to handle any air conditioning and refrigeration project you have in mind. Contact Duck Duck Air Conditioning today at 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769. Or visit us online at duckduckac.com. Duck Duck Air Conditioning, your reliable partner in air conditioning and refrigeration services.
There are so many ways you can catch me.
Catch Mia O'Brien on XL Primetime weekdays.
On Helmets and Heels Tuesday nights.
And on 1010XL's video and social channels. All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
It's Mo Time with Mo Bryan.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving, they can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Hey Jacksonville, this is 17-time PGA Tour winner Jim Furyk inviting you to join me and the legends of the PGA Tour for the 3rd annual Constellation Furyk and Friends presented by Circle K, October 2 through 8 at Timuquana Country Club. Public parking is free, along with complimentary tournament access for our military, courtesy of ViStar Credit Union. Go to Ticketmaster to get your tickets today. And if you're not traveling to London, but watch the Jags this fall, join us Sunday morning in the Publix Tailgate Village to catch the game on the big screen. For more information, visit ConstellationFuricanFriends.com.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn, Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty, a proud partner of the Jaguars.
The next time you're at Southern Social Whiskey Bar and Lounge and you're looking for something slightly salty, ask for Brackish Vodka.
What is the world's largest cruise ship?
Hurricane season is here, and now is the time to ask your agent about your homeowner's coverage. It's time to make the change to Southern Oak Insurance.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
With a capacity of 7,000 guests and over 1,200 feet long, Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas is currently the world's largest cruise ship.
Southern Oak Insurance, our family protecting yours.
Men suffering from ED or PE, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Prime Men's Medical Center. For a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. You'll even get a gift that enhances performance in the bedroom. Call 904-664-8217.
Major League Baseball is always on at Perfect Rag Billiards in Murray Hill. Whether you're a Ray, Cub, or even Yankee, Perfect Rag Billiards always has all the games live. Tons of awesome beer and food specials for the weekend, from Fireball Fridays, Seltzer Saturdays, and brunch on Sundays. That, along with tons of pool tables, shuffleboards, darts, and more. Get on out of the house for the action and come to Perfect Rag Billiards in Murray Hill, where you can catch all the MLB action. Perfect Rag Billiards in Murray Hill, a great place to watch sports.
Come to Bowden Eye for all your eye care needs. Hicken here. Did you know that dry eye disease affects up to 60 million Americans? Dry eye disease is known to progress. Dry eye disease is one of the most common but least diagnosed eye conditions doctors see in their patients. Many of us who have dry eye may not even feel it. At Bowden Eye and Associates, visit today for your personal consultation. Keeping the First Coast focused. Bowden Eye and Associates. New location now open off County Road 210 in St. Johns County.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet, keeping 1010XL talking with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
All right, time for Hacker Nation. What is going on the program tonight?
Did you enjoy the day off from Jaguar training camp today?
You know, I did, but I was kind of lost. You know, I was supposed to play golf, and a couple buddies like, it's too hot, let's call it. And I didn't know what to do with myself. Probably should have gone to the gym or swam or something, but answer your question is I'll be happier tomorrow when I get a chance to go to practice.
Yeah, I agree. I'll be out there tomorrow, scheduled to talk to Luke Farrell tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that conversation. But I enjoyed my off day of Jaguar training camp by going to swim lessons with my 4-year-old at 7 a.m., so I was up even earlier than I normally am. Oh, yeah.
I thought you told me karate.
Well, no, he's karate in the afternoon.
Oh.
Swim in the morning. We had a big day today, Rick. Swim from 7 to 7:30 and karate from 4:30 to 5. So I was kind of all over the place.
Now, why doesn't Dad teach him how to swim?
Well, Dad can teach him how to doggy paddle and stay afloat, but he's doing that. There's some name for it, SSR or something, where they teach him how to float and how to get to the wall if need be. And it's in my opinion, any toddler should go through it with, living in Florida and the amount of swimming pools and such that we have here.
Yeah, I just threw my daughters in. and no doubt. Well, that's what's great when you live near a pool, which I do, and they did.
Yeah.
When they were little, but learning to swim is not something that everyone does where I come from, in Boston, but here in Florida, absolutely, you need to do that. All right, what do you have scheduled?
Yeah, look, it's going to be a big night as far as high school coverage, college, and the National Football League. And my opening monologue is going to be very simple. It's a great time of year. Right, you're at the beginning of August. There's hope for every high school, college, and NFL team right now. Reality is going to strike in about a month. But for the here and now, every fan base, every team thinks it's their year, which is why it is a great time in the sports calendar.
Well, have a lot of fun. It's coming up right now. Hacker Nation will move back up to our regularly scheduled times tomorrow night. That'll begin 6 to 8, and then Hacker taking over at 8. Thank you to Agent Gibbs. Thank you as well, as always, for joining us. Again, tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, 6 to 8. Thursday and Friday, oh, by the way, Florida State in. They will practice here at UNF, so it's going to be really busy the remainder of the week. Have a great night. My name's Rick Ballou, talking to you tomorrow at 6.
Place for rowdy reptiles.
I can't believe what I just saw!
Where only Gators get out alive.
And this place is an insane asylum!
1010XL.
Oh, my!
Home of the Gators.
Folks, it's finally here. The return of the Blue Crab Crab House. After a massive fire, they return and they're open Tuesday through Saturday, 4:30 to 10, Sunday noon to 9. As always, each and every Tuesday, $2 margaritas, $1 oysters on Wednesday. And as expected, the best crabs that you'll find throughout Jacksonville. Same ownership, same management. The Blue Crab Crab House off of San Jose on Jewington Creek Road.
To your left, our new exhibit, Monarchs of Springfield. And right here, we have our empty tour guide stand.
The last time Bryn hired someone is ancient history.
Sir, excuse me, that's not part of the exhibit.
They need tour guides who know the museum ropes.
Hey, kid, you like wearing khakis? I got a job for you.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley have been helping clients all over Florida with their construction perm loans for 34 years. Construction perm loans are not easy to find because a lot of banks and credit unions don't understand them, and therefore they don't like to do them. Well, your problem is solved. Trustline Mortgage wants to help you build your dream home. Our construction